Well, hello there, everyone. Hope you're doing well, and happy Sunday evening. As you can tell, that we are on a lighter ship of players tonight. We're not sure if Jesse's going to be joining us, so we'll just leave him kind of hovering to see if maybe he'll join us later on. But welcome to The Last Heir. It is our lovely Tales of the Old Margreave inspired D&D5E game that we have going on. So I am very excited to get back into it. We had to take last week off thanks to, internet goblins. But for now, I'll take what I can get because I've been jonesing to play with you guys. You guys are always so much fun. So I am V Muse. I will be your DM this evening. And what I'll do is I'm going to go around and we'll have our current attending players introduce themselves. And we're going to take it from there. So lovely, lovely Michael. Why don't you get us started?
Hi, my name is lovely Michael.
Yes, it
Michael
is. It is canon now.
Yeah. You can find me at Michael Crits on Twitter, and who I'm playing today is Jervain, a human fighter who's a ghost knight, and his the specific human that he is the Heir of Wanderer. So he's very happy when he gets to do some traveling.
Which, we've been doing a little bit of walking and talking, which is good. Mm-hmm. So that's going to now take us over to our lovely Torn Pixie.
Hello, I'm Torn Pixie. You can find me at Torn Pixie Twitch on Twitter, and I will be playing Aowil Galith, who is our Shadow Fae Warlock. We're still kind of figuring out a bit about Fae outside of we know Fae. Definitely loves Eldritch Blast though, a lot. Very useful.
Mm-hmm. Yep, not a shabby thing to have at all. And finally, currently with us now is our wonderful Jim. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Hey, doing great, and excited to be here. I missed last week as well, and I was really looking forward to seeing. We haven't gotten to the Grove of Eternal Autumn yet, and I feel like that something sinister will. Yeah, so yeah,
something
I'm excited to play playing. Yes, and Slain is overcome by a new the darkness that he's found within him. Of course, still paranoid, and not feeling particularly I don't know, what do you call it, compassionate of late. Ready to play.
So lovely. So we are ready to play, and basically, do any of you want to take on get your temporary 2 HP for this evening and catch the others up on what happened not a week ago, but 2 weeks ago? Because there's the challenge. Actually, if you do it tonight, I'll give you 3 because it's been 2 weeks. Ooh. Sweeten the deal. See, now I got you thinking.
Anybody? I could go. I could go a recap. I think.
Go for it.
You want the recap? The recap is yours, Jim.
All right.
Go for it.
So we're traveling along with, correct me if I'm right, his name is Henrocalis?
His name is Henrocalis. Yep.
Henrocalis. And so we're walking along, and it's a several days journey, and a lot of us have disturbing dreams, right? We're all beset by past guilt and all kinds of things. For me, I like shape-shifting grandmothers and all kinds of business. We woke up angry, not particularly ready for any sort of socialization or niceties, that kind of thing. It seemed to affect me. Great deal of the group, Jubilee Jervain and Zira had a bit of a spat, sort of a disagreement, as it were. Aelith, I recall, unaffected but confused as to why the rest of us were so short with each other. And Slain yelled at Shreg, and that's tough because tall and small, that's tough. And but Slane's feeling, that the eyes of grandmother are upon him, and he's feeling it, and it colors his mood. And he has a flaw that his moods do change with the wind, and so this sort of thing is totally normal for him. He just assumes that it's another vagary of, being trollkin or something like that. But I recall, as we're walking along, we had asked, "Hey, is this bridge all right? Are we going to cross this bridge into the stream, and are we going to get ambushed by something?" And we were assured that it was safe. It was not safe. we had to fight a Shellycoat, or as I thought it was called, a Trolled, with a shiny coat and a bad attitude. And it took a while to wrestle it down. We tried to capture it, but that didn't seem to work. And then I do believe we simply decided Zira killed it, delivered the final blow. And Slane is currently walking around with his coat slung over his left shoulder, like like a half capelet sort of number.
Looking quite fetching.
Right. As the autumn air turned crisp, we crossed Dead Druid's Run, which Slane felt a bit of uneasiness about it. And if this is somewhere where Grandma punished somebody, then you don't want to mess with any of that. But there was signs. I have a potential link with the Grove's troubles, or at the very least, could be related, maybe not, but that someone in the Grove would potentially know more, which is, I think, where we were. I think we decided to camp in the woods instead of pressing onward, if I recall.
Yep, you were just sitting down around the bonfire, not the bonfire, the campfire, and sort of getting ready to tuck in for the night. And everyone's just sort of had enough of the day because there was the attempt on Ael's part to try and get closer to the dead druid ruin stones. Haha, there we go. That's a tongue twister. And see if she could find out more, or that Faye could find out more information. However, the current of the river at that time was far too strong, which is what's driving the party to keep going, because they're hoping to get to the Grove, get some better supplies and equipment to possibly have a means to go downriver a little bit and approach the stones in a more secure, less haphazard. Let's tie a couple ropes together and see if, going across the current might be a good idea. Which, it was nice for a dip in the water, as we discovered. So yes, you are basically sitting around this fire. You're having your evening supper, if you will. And you see that Zira has gotten a little quiet and a little bit introspective. She's sort of giving these monosyllabic responses. And Shreg is also sort of sitting there eating, but also they're looking around frantically. Almost like the slightest sound has their eyes darting back and forth and back and forth. And Maurice, he's just been sitting there trying to get his hands to function. You can see that he's been opening and closing them and opening them and closing them. As he does so, this dust seems to fall from his joints, and you can tell that this rust isn't quite going away, even with the use of taking care of things with the oil and everything like that. So something is going on with him, that he just is getting more and more of this rust collecting upon his form. So the three of them are actually kind of more pulled into their own selves. And at one point, Shreg, they just pretty much set their things down and they go running into the tent that they're sharing with Zira for the night. And it's quite startling. They don't even say anything. They just sort of like quickly drop their mess kit and off they go into the tent. And you can see almost like they're tying the tent closed tightly to make sure that it's closed behind them. And Zira just sort of raises an eyebrow and, I guess I better go check on him, make sure, check on them, make sure everything's okay, because I need to get in there too. And she'll look at Gervain and kind of just nod her head, because, things were a little bit tense between the two of you during the day, but it seems it's settled a little bit. And then she'll walk off to the tent as well, and you actually can see her sort of trying to open it, and inside here, yeah, who is it? And she's reassuring them that it's her, and soon enough the tent flaps open and in she goes, and then once again you see the tent flap getting tied tightly against itself, and that's pretty much all you'll be seeing of them for the evening. It seems that she's trying to calm them down for some unknown reason. Meanwhile, Maurice is still sitting there. You're not sure if it's stoically, but even the opening and closing of their hands is sort of slowed down, and they've now placed it onto his lap, his hands, and he's just sort of taking in what the three of you and Cal are doing, more of an observer than anything else. So as you're sitting there, what would you be talking about after this journey of having to deal with the Shellycoat and now wondering if the dead druid runes have anything to do with what's happening with the Grove of Eternal Autumn?
Those ruins back there, then, do y'all want to go back and look at them tonight or later?
No, I think we're gonna see if this priestess may think that the events are linked, or come back with her. I don't think there's much we can do with that river flowing so fast. Between the things that we have and the abilities that we have to make it to those statues safely.
Oh yeah, I get you. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking of just taking a walk tonight, and don't wait up for me. I guess it'll be okay. I'm not gonna hurt anybody or anything.
If you're going for a walk, just make sure you do not go too far. I am not going to wait around for someone to decide to show up midday when we could be there faster if we leave early tomorrow morning. Cal's looking at you. Sure.
Yeah, no, I can find my way. I think. I mean, it's not hidden or anything. Is it? Or like concealed, or like with a spell or anything.
You're better arriving at the grove with one of its inhabitants than just showing up by yourself, if that's what you're asking.
Oh yeah, no, that's real good advice. I'll be back here before dawn.
All right, just take care of yourself and don't lose anything.
Oh yeah, no, I got it. And he pats himself. He's got his herbalism kit, his knife, and his spear, and his boots, and he's ready to. He'll turn to Noname. You can come if you want, Noname. I appreciate some light, but it's not necessary if you'd rather have company. Other people. I'm kind of a sour mood tonight, so it's your call.
And you'll see the little green orb it's sort of bouncing up and down over your shoulder, and it's brightening and it's dimming itself, and it's sort of, as soon as she says could use a little extra light, it brightens itself back up again, so it's almost, a nice strong torch light for you, and it actually starts moving ahead of you just a little bit, almost like, okay, let's go.
Mm-hmm. And Slane's going to at first just do a couple of circuits around the camp, mostly make sure that there's nothing out there or anything, and once he gets out of sight of the camp, he's going to ask Noname to dim it down to a candle, and maybe even stay over, just you can explore around. I'd like to be in the dark for a while. I'll whistle whenever I'm ready. Just trying to clear my head. Something's wrong with me. I just need some time.
All right, so Noname, did we decide if it was he, she, they? What are we doing with Noname?
I don't know that Noname had yet stated, and Slane is not going to assume.
Okay. So. All right. So we'll stick with they and it mode with it. So you'll see that the light goes very dim as it can possibly be, because it can't go out completely, and then sort of flit over to the tree line, and you'll see every so often just this very dim light sort of peek between the canopy of leaves. Maybe even see like some leaves silhouetting themselves from the backlighting of it, but it's not staying as close to you as it was before, but it's definitely within line of sight easily for you and for it with you. So that way, not completely gone, probably at most 20 feet away, but not so close that it's going to be brightly lit or even giving signs of your being there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think Slane's going to try to find like a creek bed, rocky overhang. He's looking for dark places, preferably not like warrens or caves or something, but just near the earth. And he's looking to tap into something because he feels the paranoia in him, as like, and he knows it's maybe like something else or suspects it. So he's going to try to embrace the darkness instead of running from it.
Darkness. Right. Yeah. Well, how about Slane gives me a survival check to see what he embraces in the dark?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Let's see. I'm going to embrace the darkness and try this roll 20 thing and see if it works out.
I thought you were going to try roll 20, and I'm like, I'm the dice. We're like, we're dicing it, and Jim's like, I'm going to roll 20.
Ask him, listen to these dice here.
Yeah, see? Now that's a sound I could love.
There you go.
You can do that again.
Clack, clack, clack. All right, where's my character sheet? So that was a roll of 11 plus, let's see. That is going to be an unnatural 20.
A dirty 20? Oh dear God, don't get me
Yes.
started. Okay, so with this, hey now, so with your dirty 20, you're able to wander around a little bit, and you do hear the sound of some lightly running water, and you're able to follow the sound of this water, and you come into this clearing. It's still dense wood, so it's not like it's out in the open. It's not like it's a cleared out spot where you can see up to the sky. You still have that canopy that's woven above your head. You can hear the crickets and the other night insects going, as well as other night creatures. The occasional rustling of some sort of nocturnal animal making their way through the underbrush. But you come to this area where this is an old stream bed, and it has been there for quite a long time, and it has worn itself down into the earth. And you actually have the ability to see, tree roots are sort of exposed and sort of creating these almost like natural gazebos along the stream bed line.
Oh, yeah.
And
Nice.
you can make your way down just using some haphazard rocks. It's not that anyone's actually set up a set of stairs, but there's a way to take some footing and get your way down there. And there's this thick moss that's growing across everything. It's almost as if you were to remove the moss, it quickly grow itself back over there. Some of it has like this faint bioluminescence to it as it gets closer to the creek bed. And it must have been at one point a stronger source of water coming down from the nearby mountains as it worked its way towards the main area of the river itself that you had just recently left. So it is wide, it is deep, but it is definitely more of its own little enclosed spot than, say, being next to a traditional stream bed or a creek of, quick running water. This one is more methodical and peaceful in its flow. Again, you can even sort of see these reflections picking up in the water as it's moving along from some of these areas where you have this moss that's just slightly glowing to it. Nothing bright, nothing near as bright even as Noname, but you can just tell that this is more of an ancient spot of the Margreave than anything else that you've encountered so far.
All right, so he's going to go over and on his hands and knees just take a big drink of water. Just put his face on the thing. And,
all right, then give me a constitution. I want a constitution check.
Check. All right.
We'll do a check on this one. Yep.
Oh, that's going to be a big 7.
7. So as you take a sip of this water, it's almost as if things have enhanced slightly by this sip. Those bits of moss that had their own natural glow to them, it's almost as if they have this Northern Lights-esque shimmer to it now, which didn't seem to be there before. And the night sounds of the crickets, it's becoming almost like a refrain to a song. You're able to pick up on this rhythm to it and this pattern to it, and you could almost sing along with it if you wanted to. Not that you chirp along with it like the crickets, but you hear that there are notes and intonations to it this time around.
Oh, nice. I don't think I have any musical proficiencies. He's not particularly musical, but he will. He might hum, and he's going to go find a place where the roots overhang, one of those nice deep recesses. Find the shadows in there, and the nice contrast with the moss is perfect for what he's looking for. And he scratches away at the dirt until he's like reveals some worms and whatnot, and like just get some fresh earth dug up, and settles himself into it, just sitting there comfortably. He takes a big handful of that dirt and puts it in his mouth, and he doesn't do anything else with it. He just has it there. He tastes it. He gets a sense of its earthiness, of the bugs that are in it, and he is going to just meditate and use his sort of spirit whispers in this place. AKA, he is leveling up, taking Gloomstalker, and this is sort of his moment of embracing the darkness and the chthonic energies of the earth that gives life to the Margreave.
Wonderful.
And he's just trying to like all-night vigil, stay awake kind of thing, in here in the dark by himself.
Okay, great. So it's basically, this has become sort of Slane's little spot of meditation. It's almost as if the Margreave knows that something significant is happening for Slane, because while you do have those creatures skirting around the edges of this old riverbed, nothing really comes into it. Nothing invades that sort of sacred sanctuary that's been created as a result. And the night will pass with Slane basically staying and meditating. And the interesting thing is that moss will actually increased slightly in its light, but the northern light effects are actually something that is now happening as a result of your doing this meditation.
Nice.
And that's where we'll leave our darling slain out in the darkness of the Margreave. And as this happens, we pan back over to the campfire where you have Cal, who sort of just propped himself down. He, being the Alcide, he can't exactly sit down because, lower body looks more like a deer. So think centaur, but elfin body on top and deer body on the bottom, for those who are not familiar with this particular race from the Margreave Forest, which is a very cool race, by the way. So he's sort of tucked up, like you would see any deer, sort of like lying down in a pasture in the evening. And he's sort of just going through his inventory, checking things. And every so often he'll look up and he eyes the tent where Zira and Shreg have gone. And he'll also kind of give Maurice a quizzical look, but then sort of not being very familiar with these mechanical creatures, sort of shrug it off and just sort of sit there and listen in on what the two of you might be discussing at this point, Gervain and Aowil.
So, people seem to be off doing their own thing tonight. How are you holding up?
I think I'm holding up okay. It's just a little bit different out here. Not terribly, but just a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a far cry from the city.
You are also in the older part of the Margreave, so things tend to be a little bit more intense when you are out and about in this area.
I kind of know the edges of it. I don't know much about actually in the forest, but it's not the first time I've encountered areas of it. It's never ventured in before.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but ever since we've kind of been in the Margreave, or just entered this forest, been part of this forest, I feel like, well, have you been hearing, dead figures or figures from your past speaking to you since we started it all?
Closest I came was a dream about college, but that was it.
But not when you're awake.
No.
Well then I have a confession. I don't know if you've seen this, necklace that I have of this little, almost little cat looking thing. This was a companion I met during my travels, after I left my tribe. I happened upon him, and he kept joining me and didn't scatter away. His name was Little Czar. It's just like a little bobcat that accompanied me for a bit, and we were good friends, looked out for each other, and one night when I woke up, he was gone. And lately he's been speaking to me and looking out for me and keeping me sane, at least keeping me more sane than I think than I would be.
When you say gone as in just not there, or gone as in passed on?
He passed on.
Passed on.
And so I kept this symbol of him as I went. I figured he'd want me to, and I put him on my necklace and decided to carry him with me as I went forward. But he's been.
It almost sounds like he may have been a familiar. He chooses to stick around still. I would say any messages he tries to give, I'd pay close attention to.
Yeah, he's been speaking to me more lately, and I know every time I kind of touch the skull, at least between yesterday and today, I feel my heart rate kind of picking up a bit more. I don't know what that's about.
That is a bit different. I can't say I know anything about that bit.
Sometimes the forest has a way of letting the spirits of animals have more of a voice.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that me and Zard liked to race before. Like, we used to take off and go on our little, like, mini playful races. And, you know, with my pulse going, I've been feeling that urge to kind of, like, take off and go into a run. And it doesn't quite make sense. At least not yet. I don't know. I mean, Cal, what do you think? I have no idea.
Sometimes our subconscious has a way of knowing things before we even allow ourselves to acknowledge them. Perhaps you are working on something in your own minds, and you might be making progress deeper inside, and now it's physically showing itself. You'll never know. Have you been resting well while you've been here?
I don't think I've had a good night's rest. Yeah, probably the whole time we've been here. It's either one thing or the other.
It's not an easy thing to sleep well out in the Margreave, especially out in the Margreave, not in the enclosed area. I wouldn't be surprised if some of that is coming into play. The forest likes to play games. It likes to try and have its presence known in one way or another.
Okay.
But it's interesting that you feel this connection to your companion again. You never know. Sometimes things have a way of staying with us and coming around when we need them.
Yeah.
But speaking of sleep, you both do look tired. I don't mind taking watch this evening. Plus, I'll keep an eye out for Slane if he comes back and see what happens with the others.
All
But
right.
if I'm supposed to be bringing some heroes back with me, better you look the part than exhausted and worn.
Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, just wake us up if anything happens, or if you hear... Pay attention to where Slane, the direction he went. If you hear any sounds from there, just wake us up, and I guess we'll
Absolutely.
go find him.
I will be sure you are the first to know if I figure there is anything going on beyond my abilities.
All right.
And I guess I'll kind of like put my back towards the fire, maybe 2 or 3 feet away from it, and talk to Zar as I slowly go to sleep.
Okay. All right. And then, Eowyn, would you tuck up into one of the tents, or would you want to sleep out in the open?
Not necessarily needing sleep. I'd probably stay out in the open. It's not as easy to meditate in a tent as it is otherwise.
Okay. So, seeing this, Cal would, if it's a matter of you just needing some quiet time, I have no problem keeping an eye on you, but I will make sure no one bothers you.
I'd appreciate that, actually.
And he'll motion to this area where there's a couple of cedar trees that are growing, and they've kind of created this canopy of a sort of, not a tent, but it's almost an awning. So you
Nice
have the
little
branches
tops.
that reach out. Yeah, so you're able to kind of tuck in underneath it. It's a little bit more quiet. You can still see out and around, but you still have this sense of being out in the open, but a little bit more protected as a result.
Okay. Sounds wonderful.
Okay. So then basically it's come to the point where the campsite itself has gotten quiet. Cal is essentially looking over his weapons, making sure they are in peak performance, getting things organized. Every so often he'll put a log onto the fire, but he's very methodical in making sure he is staying quiet. So if anything, you just have this crackling sound of the fire, and again, the night song of the insects out in the woods. And Gervain, you quickly do fall asleep. Once you sort of had that little minute of speaking with little Zar, you find yourself falling into a deep slumber this time. And it's almost as if the world around you of the Margreave that you're currently in has fallen away. And you find yourself back into an old familiar stomping ground. And in your dream, it's morning, and you're still kind of sleeping, but you feel this soft nudge against one of your hands.
Gonna wake up
And you get another headbutt
I'm
on the
gonna
side of
wake
your
up
cheek.
towards it and look at my hand and my face.
And you'll see little Zar just sort of standing next to you with his head cocked to one side.
I'm going to picking up and kind of like nudge him and like cuddle him with my face because he's like still tiny and like just waking up morning routine. Yep.
And he is thrilled to bits. He actually has his paws. They're going in this happy little dance, and every so often the paws will come up onto your cheeks and kind of knead your cheeks a little bit, but he's very careful about not using his claws, and he's just chatting.
Okay, I'm up, I'm okay. We're all right.
I kind of dust myself up, pick myself up, and I'm gonna look around and set. Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna keep Zara on my shoulder and kind of look around.
Okay, so Zar will comfortably tuck up onto your shoulder. In fact, he almost looks like a stole because he's gotten into this habit of he'll drape one side of his body over the right side, and then his torso goes around the back of your neck, and the rest of him hangs off the other side. And he's quite comfortable and able to sort of hang out there, and every so often kind of like bops his head against yours and rubs an ear against you affectionately. And he's purring like crazy right now. So you want to take around? So let's do a perception check.
Ooh, I'm gonna use this. Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's warming up. We're warming up. 7.
You're warming up. That's a 7.
Yeah.
You're still sort of getting your bearings. It's something where you've recently left more familiar stomping grounds, so you're still figuring out where did you even want to go at this moment. Little Zar has been sort of a much-needed companion for you after not so recent past events. And You're still playing those events in your head over and over again. Every so often you have these feelings of absolute questioning of whether it was really warranted or if you should have stayed, or suddenly feeling like, no, this is the way you should have gone, and everything like that. And right now you're basically it's not quite a city environment. It's not quite completely wild. You can tell that this is a place where, yes, there are inhabitants, but everyone's sort of spread out further away from each other. You must be getting closer into this area known as Zobek, but you're not quite there yet. You're probably a good couple weeks away from getting there. And little Zar is definitely, been keeping you company as you've been traveling. You've encountered some people here and there, passerbys, travelers as well. And some of them keep to themselves. Others are more than happy to sit and chat with you in the evenings as you might share a meal. But this is probably the first night where you had fallen asleep and it was just you and little Zar after a long day's journey.
Gotcha. I'm gonna see if there's any high points. Any high points of elevation towards the direction I'm going, or at least like wouldn't be too far off to kind of go on to.
Okay. Do a survival.
Yeah.
See if we can pick that up.
All right. Survival. 14.
All right. So you aren't exactly on the main road itself. You've sort of been running parallel to it. So you can see further off towards one side, there's this hill that's starting to, move its way up and out away from the road area and further into the more wilds of the area. So you could very easily go up into this hill. It's not like a mountain or anything like that, but it would definitely give you some elevation.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of rub Lil Zara's head and be like,
hey buddy, what about a race? Give me a moment to stretch. Just, just woke up here.
and so I'm gonna kind of stretch there for like 5 minutes, kind of trying to limber up. And Zara's probably like limbering up as well, just doing that big cat spine stretch.
Yeah, it's got like the front paws stretched out, and he's even like dug his claws in a little bit, and the butt goes up, and you can kind of see like there's that slight like anxious wiggle, getting ready to go, and he's looking up at you, like questioning like, are we ready to go? Are you ready to go?
And then I'll count down. I'll count down 3, 2, 1, go! And I just start booking it towards the the hill.
So why don't you give me an athletics?
Uh-oh.
And let's see how you do with this racing and running around. And we'll see how Little Czar does. Okay. So you're able. What did you get?
18.
18. So you are able to get your footing right away. I was like, well, that's a good face. Let's go. So you get your footing right away, and you are off and zooming. Little Czar was probably so excited just to get going, like the feet were going, and it sort of ends up being the whoop, 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 whoop. Can't quite get his grip in the ground right away. So you're already in the lead going up this little hilly area of where you are. And he'll soon get his grip, and he's probably, maybe about 10 feet behind you as he starts getting his speed back and under himself.
I'll maybe catch a bit of terrain that I can kind of easily do like a spin off of, and yell back to him, "Catch up, little buddy!" and just turn right back around and start heading my way up.
Okay,
just
so
to kind of egg him on.
Yeah, let's do one more athletics again and see how you do with that.
All right. Unnatural 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, so with your dirty 20, you're able just to sail right through it. The terrain is not even limiting you whatsoever. You are agile, you are quick, you are fleet of foot, whereas poor little Czar, he's almost all feet at this point. He looks more like a clumsy puppy than a graceful cat, but he eventually will start getting closer to you and make up for the lost time, especially as you are able to get to the top first. And probably within a minute, you hear the scuttling and the scampering of Little Czar sort of leaping and bounding up and over that edge as well. And he comes up and he sort of sits down next to you, and his tail will sort of just hover in the back, and he's just got his ears pointed in curiosity, taking everything in, questioning you almost like, what are we doing here?
I'm going to climb up the tree. Well, I assume there's probably a tree there.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah, you absolutely have trees around in this area. Not quite like the trees that you would have in the Margreave. They're more, classic trees. Some of them look really nice and healthy. Others, they're probably going to fall in a little bit, but they're not nearly as dense or as lush.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to head up a tree, and then I don't know how far we were from the village I left, but I'm probably going to take some time to place myself in a way that I can look towards that direction, and then towards the back, and kind of contemplate there with Czar.
Okay. And so little Czar would make his way up with you and sort of sit catty corner in another branch. Very much sees how you're kind of taking in the lay of the land and attempts to be doing the same thing. And for you, you know that your past physically is behind you. You've gotten some good distance now. However, as you're sitting there, you're realizing that there's still some struggles within as to what has happened and where things have gone. And as you look in the other direction, it's open, and you get a sense almost of promise of new things.
After, I assume I would try to bust out the treat for Czar and probably take some sort of jerky out for myself and eat that a little bit, and then
I guess so back it is, and
and I'm talking to Czar at this point.
I guess there's no other point than to just keep wandering forward, and so we don't have to look back. How about you keep pace, Czar? How about you set the pace, and from this point forward, I'll just keep following you until I figure it out. How's that sound?
And you'll see he kind of fluffs up a little bit and then starts working his way back down the tree, and once gets onto solid ground, looks up at you, and again, the paws are going in this mode of anticipation, waiting for you to come back down to the ground. And as soon as your foot hits the ground, he's off and running in, not at a racing pace, but enough it's like, okay, let's go. If this is what you want, let's go.
Okay.
And he starts working his way back down the hill.
I'll set pace with him and run with him as long as and as hard as he wants to.
All right, great. So you're off and running with little Czar, heading in a new direction in your life, someplace you've never been before. And again, you feel yourself falling into a deep sleep again. And the last thing you hear is sort of little Czar's trilling and calling to you as he's encouraging you to keep up and keep following him into this new territory. And we'll leave Gervain resting back in the Margreave forest with his back to the fire, Cal keeping watch over everyone. And it phases over to Aol. And you've actually been able to fall into your meditation pretty quickly, probably because you know that Cal is making sure everyone's sort of protected and kept safe. So what was it you would be focusing on as you start your meditation?
It's so hard not to throw my own personal favorite in here. Probably would be focusing on some exercises I would have learned in school for focusing, especially when doing magic stuffs. Just cause. Not everything I ever learned initially came from being a warlock. I had other aspirations. So.
Okay. So you're going through this mental exercise and sort of reviewing what you've come to know, what you learned, and what you hold dear and close to your heart and mind for how this thing called magic works for you. And this starts to get you into almost this trance-like state. And as you fall into this trance, you're taken back to when you were much younger, even before you were back in the college or even in school. You're a younger child and you're out at your family's home, outside, and you're trying to meditate. However, you feel someone constantly poking you. You feel a quick poke at your back and some giggles. And you're left alone for a couple minutes. And then you feel someone sort of like tickling your ear and a laugh. And then your eyes are still closed. You feel someone touch your nose. How's it going?
Slap it away.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm meditating. What are you doing?
Seeing how well you can meditate. How you doing?
How's it look like I'm doing?
Looks like you're talking instead of meditating.
Looks like you're being annoying.
That's what brothers are for, newsflash. And you hear your brother Leith just start cracking himself up. Aren't you too young for this yet? I mean, really, what are you so worried about?
I don't think a person's ever too young for this.
It's because they were talking about getting you to school. Yeah, whatever. I'm fine. I can get to it later. It's no big deal.
I'm sure.
Admit it's because you saw the letter
Which letter?
from the school.
No.
Oh, well, you might want to go talk with the parents, and they may have some news for you. Or I could tell you now, if you don't want to wait. And he's sitting there gloating. He's just got like this huge smirk on his face. And his eyes have this little mischievous glint in them. I mean, it's totally up to you. I didn't, take a note or anything of what was written there while they weren't looking.
I'm sure you didn't.
No, not at all.
Which is why you're offering information, because you have no clue whatsoever. Tell me.
No. You got in. You got in and they want to pay the way, kid.
I'm not sure we can actually afford that. I mean, as much as I wanted it, unless we can find scholarships or something.
Yeah, no, AOL. They're going to pay for you to go. Like the school.
Oh.
Yeah, oh.
Okay.
Something along the lines of rare talent and potential. You impressed someone there.
You sound a bit jealous. What about yours?
Well, I'll make my way. Of course I'm jealous. You're like getting a freaking unreal opportunity, but that's a good thing.
Well, let's just hope I can hold up to it.
Yeah, I think you will. And he's sitting next to me, kind of like does like the shoulder bump thing. I don't know. Something tells me you'll manage just fine. They kind of want to make a big deal of it. Like, announce it to the town and let everyone know. Make a big deal of it.
But why?
Because you're getting a full ride. Yeah, but still, I mean, not everyone gets to go. All expenses paid. This is the stuff dreams are made of,
Yeah, I think announcing it might bring undue attention, though.
Then you might want to get back home and let them tell you, and then beg off that they keep it more on the down low and not shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah, probably should do that.
I mean, we always have the knack for something. And as he's saying this, his hands are kind of dancing in the air, and you can see these sparks forming on his fingertips as he's just goofing around. He's not exactly casting in full, but he's not exactly not casting a spell. Yeah. He has this habit of sort of like, maybe, nah, but maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I better head off. Don't you get in any trouble either.
I'm fine. I can take care of myself.
Clearly.
Always. And as he's saying this, one of the sparks goes a little bit astray and actually lands on his lap and ignites, and you see him quickly patting it out. Because that I just wanted to see what the damage could be with this particular one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely, well, you got to test him out first. If you don't test him out, you don't know what it can do, right? So I meant for that to happen.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
That's what dummies are for.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, not all of us have, super smarts up there.
Okay.
And I am kind of proud of you. It's actually really cool.
Hopefully we find a way for you to go too. Right?
I'm sure I'll manage some way or another. Worst case scenario, you just teach me when you come home on breaks.
There's that.
It's something. Yeah, me too. All right, should we go and stop the excitement before it gets too carried away?
I think so.
And he'll push up and he turns around and he offers his hand out to you to pull you up. You could have some really cool things in your future.
Good.
Kind of crazy. Right. We got to get back home because you won't believe how they are right now. Prepare yourself. Oh, and be surprised.
Who, me? Never.
just pretend like you had no idea. Because they're gonna know
About what?
if you don't. That's it, right there. That, perfect. And Laith will sort of tuck his arm out, and he'll tuck your arm through it, and you'll walk back together arm in arm towards your home, where you can see the silhouettes of your parents standing outside looking for your return. And as soon as you come in line of sight, you see your mother's hand waving eagerly and beckoning you. Remember, play dumb. I know you're smart, but play dumb. Let them have this.
Let them have that.
And the two of you start walking down the path towards your childhood home. And you feel yourself suspended back into your usual meditation, this memory sort of blurring itself back into the recesses of your mind. And you're once again hearing the night calls of various animals and the steady rhythm of the crickets and that crackling fire that has been going thanks to Cal's vigil.
Might be a little bit teary-eyed with memory. Because clearly that worked out.
And you'll hear this approaching step, and it's not a usual footfall. It's this clip-clopping sound, but it's very soft. They will. I am sorry to disturb. It's getting to be done soon. I wasn't sure if you wanted to be up and ready with all the others.
Yeah, that would be good.
And he'll lean over and he extends his hand out to you, eerily like how your brother had in your dream. Yeah, allow me?
Yeah. Do you know where the others went off? I think...
I still have not seen any sign of slain. As far as I know, you have Shrek and Zira are very quiet. I'm hoping they slept. Maurice, we may have to figure out what to do with him. For as I fear, he's not looking good.
Yeah, he wasn't looking great last night. It seems, Forest especially doesn't like him, and he hasn't done anything to the forest, except exist.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem. He is a creature that exists in the forest, doesn't always agree with the fact that his type is even there. Gervain is still sleeping, as far as I know. Perhaps you and I can go check out Maurice, and we'll wake up Gervain in a little bit.
Okay.
This might require more of your touch, because last time they said, whack him with a limb or something, and I'd rather not have to get into knocking rust off your friend.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure there's better ways to go about it.
Oh, I hope so. And he'll help you to your feet and walk you over to where Maurice has been, and you'll notice that Maurice is still in that same position where sitting upright, the hands are on the lap, and his body does have a visible film of rust on him.
Okay.
And again, it's collected up and over where sort of his mouth would be, had he a mouth, and his joints definitely all have this rust present. And you can see that Cal's a little concerned as the two of you look him over. And as you're standing there looking, Gervain, you're starting to wake up a little bit. Not entirely. You're still sort of in that threshold where you're not quite out of the dream world, but you're not quite back into the reality of things. And as you're sort of in this land of limbo, you get this sense of something being near you.
Alright. I figure I'm probably getting the same sensations of like my hand being touched and then like something in my face and like trying to wake
Only
up.
it seems a little bit stronger, almost not forceful menacingly, but there's more strength behind it.
Okay. I'm going to like as if, if someone like slept on you and they put a whole bunch of weight and you try and like push them off and try and like roll off of them. That's probably what I would try and do.
Okay. Give me a strength check.
Okay.
I mean, you can roll a physical dice, or you can, do a roll.
That's
whichever
right.
you prefer.
Yeah, I guess strength.
I'm trying to convert everyone over to solid dice.
13. I like rolling my dice.
Awesome. All right, so with a 13, your hands make purchase, and you feel this thick coat of fur. And there's slight resistance, but you are finally able to push back this very solid feeling entity next to you.
I'm gonna open my eyes because I always fear it's like a whole bunch of fur. I don't know if it's a bear. I don't know if it's some sort of wolf. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna try and push on it like really hard and wake up.
Okay, so as you push back, you feel this creature, it willingly moves itself back. And as you're blinking and opening your eyes, you're seeing this rather large feline silhouette sitting next to you, tilting its head in a very familiar way, though. And noticing that the paws are doing this eager little dance against the ground, only these paws are larger, as is this form.
Wait. Tsar?
And it's a deeper trill.
Kind of take a few steps back because the deep trill kind of like surprises me. What do I see?
You see a very familiar coat of fur, a very familiar countenance, but it's definitely far larger than you recall having been last you saw little Czar prancing and racing around you. And this creature goes from sitting down to standing up on all fours, and you see it stretch out its front paws and stretch again in a very familiar motion. And its eyes close and open up and look directly at yours. And they are very much the eyes of little Czar, eyes that you haven't seen for a while.
I'm going to look down at my necklace to see what is on my necklace and look back up at little Czar. And then, do I see anything down here, or is it just... I have no idea what's going on.
You still see that little memorial of little Czar, only it now has this glow to it that hasn't been there before. And you'll notice there's a very similar shimmer to this creature as well.
Okay. I will run up and be like, buddy, oh my god, and just like jump up and I don't know, try and jump up into its chest because it's like large now, and I'm just gonna like scritch it from the back of its head and just like kind of playfully toss it, or at least try and push it. I don't know, just Gervain doesn't know what to do, but he's just kind of excited and at a loss of.
So essentially, it's this larger version of Czar backs up on its hind legs, and its front paws open up and sort of embrace you, very much like you would see like lions would do, and sort of like just gently pulled you to them, and you're falling down to the ground, and you're rolling and you're playing, and you can hear this deep rumbling of a purr coming from this creature who very much has this familiarity to you, presence-wise, but certainly physically in build is a little bit bigger and a little bit more imposing than the little bobcat companion that you had.
Okay. I'm gonna look at little Czar. How far are we from that bridge that we crossed?
Oh, you're a ways. You're an absolute ways away from that one. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And it's morning time, right?
The dawn is just about to break through the trees, so you have that eerie light of it's not quite night, it's not quite day, starting to work its way through the leaves.
Slane took off and told us that he was going to be in a certain direction.
But he'll be back soon.
Okay. I'm assuming I could probably figure out where Slain is going just from the path he took. So I'm just going to look over to Little Czar and count down. 3, 2, 1. Let's find Slain and like jump off and try and like outrace or pace Little Czar. Gonna go find Slain, I guess.
Excellent. And the two of you are off and running in the direction where you last saw Slain go. And this is essentially Gervain's leveling up. He has gained himself a new companion. So, as the two of you dash off, we have our dire bobcat, Czar, with his buddy Gervain. Wow. Looks like a wow. We have to work on like the deeper rows. So now we're going to phase back over to Slain, where you've been spending this very eerily peaceful, quiet night in this tucked away grotto, old stream bed, underneath the roots of very old trees with the moss covered upon them, with a mouth full of dirt and such. And it's getting to be morning light at this point.
The dirt is both from his background is from Baba Yaga. In addition, my tongue's all tied. Instead of the evil eye, he can just eat a handful of dirt instead of rations. And so he's been chewing on that. You know, it connects him to the earth. He probably would have concealed his tracks at some point. I think, just because he is, he did not want to be disturbed. But,
and he has those boots from Baba Yaga, so.
Yes, yeah. But he's like, as soon as it seems like it's almost daytime, as soon as he like hears the forest start to stir, he will get up and just walk back. He might even like meet Gervain on the way, back to camp.
Okay. So as you're leaving this old stream bed grotto
do I need to make
sanctuary.
A con save for staying up all night?
For flavor, no, I'm not going to make you do that because you've been doing this meditation in this little special sanctuary. So no, absolutely not. So you're off and on your way, and as you're making your way back, you are going to come... Well, that's up to you. I'm going to leave it to you. How would you want to encounter these two sort of barreling through the forest in search of you?
I mean, he kind of wants to do a... He'd prefer to, like, let them sort of pass him and then come up behind him, kind of, just to sort of, like, see if he can be like, hey, too loud. But if it looks like they're going to find him, he might play it off as like, oh, you found me.
Okay. So then let us do this. Gervain, I'd like you to give me investigation. And Slain, let's do sleight of hand. We're going to call it sleight of foot.
Nice. All right. Here we go.
Investigation, correct?
5.
18.
That is...
Okay.
That's plus 5. 22.
Oh.
Okay. So, Gervain, you're feeling super confident. Yeah, you saw a couple of footfalls a little ways back. You've got your buddy back with you. The two of you are having a great time. You're tearing through these woods. You could almost swear you hear Slain's familiar footfalls. However, Slain, these two are not being quiet at all in any way, shape, or form. So you know that someone is coming towards you, and it sounds like actually more than someone, and there's this unfamiliar pattern of feet along with it. So you, in your recent meditation, decide to sort of just phase yourself into blending back into the woodland area that's around you. And you see, within a few minutes, Gervain tearing past you, along with this rather large feline who you haven't seen before, but he seems quite comfortable with it. It almost seems like the two of them are having this great game of chase. And they race right past you.
Where'd you get that cat, Gervain?
I'll just stumble and just like roll end over end. And I figure little Czar is probably going to try and pounce around to the side of me to catch me from like smacking a tree and just to like land on him.
Oh,
I'm also loving the fact that we have little Czar has now become like the little John of the group, which he's not little at all anymore.
Yeah, it's not little anymore.
Oh, it's little Czar. It's my buddy. He's back.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Wow. Back from where?
That's a good question. So, back in my village, there was a way that we could bring some sort of animal companions for us to venture forth with and accommodate us and help us get around.
Oh, sure, yeah, I get you. Yeah, like a familiar spirit.
Yeah. And what you'll see is I'm walking and like petting little Czar and coming towards you. You'll see kind of it's a gray. It's a tones of different grays and whites and blacks. Bobcat with the spots and stripes and such. And you'll see as I'm petting it, sometimes when my hand passes through its head and fur, you'll see like a bit of its skull, and it'll just go back to fur again, and like natural face as I'm like petting it.
That answers my next question. So it's come some sort of spirit animal then. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's like alive, not alive, I think.
And I'll like rub his rib cage, and you'll see, some of the bones from his rib cage, but then transition back to fur again.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. No need to explain yourself, Gervain. We all have our proclivities. His mouth is covered in dirt. He's clearly had, earth in his mouth.
Are you sick?
It looks like no, not sick. No, I feel real good.
You don't look real good.
I feel pretty good. It's I feel alive, vigorously so, and I think that I don't know. I'm all right. It's okay. We don't have to talk about it right now because I think we're late to breakfast or something.
Okay. That's fine. Just hop on.
And I'll hop onto Little Czar and I'll grab Slane's like forearm and try and like bring him on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just basically count down to Little Czar to like kind of muscle memory, have him start going.
It's like, all right, little buddy, 3, 2, 1,
and then he'll just like pounce and start going.
All right, and so we have the two of you riding along Little Czar as he's tearing back through the forest. And again, for you, Gervain, you feel this familiar, excited energy that he always had about him, and it is back to the same old thing. You can tell that he is loving every minute of this. And he's making sure that the two of you are okay. He's, ducking low when needed before a bow comes and swats the two of you off of his back. And it's a very intense and thrilling ride. And he quickly comes tearing back into the camp. And as he does so, you have Cal and Eowl standing over Maurice, trying to figure out what to do with him. And coming out of their tent is Shreg and Zira. And as soon as Shreg sees you coming towards them on this massive creature, they are suddenly off and running into the forest, screaming in absolute terror, with Zira not far behind them. No, wait. And the last you see of the two of them is going into the deeper parts of the forest. Zira with her two swords out, like trying to make sure she can get towards Shreg and make sure she can protect the two of them. You do notice that they have both gotten their backpacks on at least, so they were getting geared up to go. But they are gone before you can even have Little Czar stop and jump off to explain to them what's going on. And meanwhile, as you two are tearing in, Eowl, you will see, tearing into your camp area, this sight of a very large bobcat carrying the forms of both Slane and Gervain. And you hear Cal just go, holy shit. Like he's just like...
Whoa, Czar, whoa, Czar, calm down.
And I'm going to stop I don't know how to really. I don't know if me and Zar are kind of in sync yet, but I feel like I would be able to hang on to him stopping. I don't know if Slane can.
Slane is having a terrible time. He's never ridden anything in his life. Maybe a pig when he was a kid or something, But he's having a terrible time. I'm happy to make any kind of stuff.
Okay, so I want you to give me a dex save for that one to see if you're able to even stay on mount as Little Czar comes to a complete and dead stop. Gervain, same for you. Give me a dex save. And let's see how you two do with this.
12.
12, okay.
8.
An 8. All right, so Gervain, because you were looking at the quick and hasty retreat of Shreg and Zira into the thick of the forest, you don't realize that Little Czar is coming to a very abrupt stop, and you actually go sailing up and over him and find yourself landing on the ground, and you actually land so that you're fully splayed out, and the air is knocked out of you. And as you lie there, you actually see Little Czar sort of leaning over you in these massive, bright, vivid eyes, just sort of looking at you, and you hear that questioning trill of, "Are you okay?" Slane, you don't go flying, but you definitely go tumbling, and you end up sort of ass over tea kettle, a couple of rolls, but you end up sort of like sitting there, slightly dazed and covered in dirt, but you're still able to breathe and move around. You haven't taken on any damage. Slane, you've just taken, let's see.
More covered in dirt.
Right, yeah.
More, yeah, you're more covered in dirt, Slane. Gervain, you just took 2 bludgeoning from your little sailing up and over Little Caesar's, not Little Czar's, not Little Caesar. Who wants pizza?
Pizza campaign.
Right pew, very wrong church. So you go sailing over Little Czar's head. So it's just 2 points bludgeoning for you. So yeah, you've both made your entrance, and AOL, what would you be doing at this point?
You're muted.
You're muted. You got the mute.
That's what I was asking. I said, I think, and then I realized I was still muted. I was like, I think, am I still muted? AOL would probably be pretty shocked. That's a big cat. That is a big kitty cat.
Okay, so you're sort of standing there in shock, and actually Cal is of the same mentality. He's actually kind of put an arm out in front of you as he sees Gervain go flying, sort of as a means of like protecting you. Like the whole, like, the joke is the mom arm in the car, just to see, make sure if anything were to come flying your way that he could quickly intercede if need be. But yeah, Gervain, you have made an entrance with Slane. How would you like to explain this to them?
This is Little Czar. Remember, you were telling you about.
Little Czar was the skull on his necklace, right?
Yeah,
Right,
one
I
and the
thought
same.
your kitty had passed. And this is not a little kitty.
That is a huge cat. That is not even a cat. What is that thing?
He has passed.
No, that's
And I'll like rub his head, and you'll see the same illusion or kind of thing that Slane saw of like skull, but actual alive, but skull.
Cal's gonna look right at you, AOL, just like this look of like, you're seeing this too, correct?
Yeah, no, the kitty with skull kitty for a moment, yes.
Yes, and his bones.
I mean, okay. That's why I was trying to tell you before. I could kind of speak to ghosts, but not speak to ghosts. But it's weird. My tribe, some of the people who are warriors from the tribe, gifted ones, they can bring one of these helpful, different animals. I don't know how Zar became my animal, but you could bring them from the dead to being a loyal companion, essentially. So Zar manifests himself.
You said these are given to gifted warriors?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a gifted warrior in our presence.
I mean,
Is what you're telling me.
I think I'm making my way there. Yeah.
Hey, I'm fine with that. If you're coming to help us, I'd rather be able to have a reason like, this big animal is here because, his people, it's a good thing.
Sure,
Yeah.
Gervain's
It's a much easier sell than, yeah.
Sure.
Slane, what has happened to you?
Nothing. I went and just did some thinking.
Do you normally think with your head in the dirt?
Sometimes, if I need to do thinking that's like Earth-oriented or like, connection to, somewhere, you never sleep with your head on the ground.
I am not an ostrich.
You should try sometime. Be surprised at what you dream. If you lead your ear just on the dirt, and then that's how the dreams get in.
Right.
I'll nod towards Ewell and be like, seems normal for Slane, right? I think.
Slane, he normally eats weird things. We have to keep an eye on him like a toddler.
Yeah.
Chickens, eating dirt,
I
Totally
think they make best orders that I need for my spells. You've got to make them yourself. Just hawk up a troll hairball. Anyway, I'm fine. Listen, the Margreave does and says things to us. We all know that, and I think we're all affected personally by it. And I got my own way of coping with it. But I'm here to help your people, Cal, and I just want to make sure I'm the best I can be as well. But I got to do it my own way. So there you go.
I'll let them know that this is perfectly normal for you, and to let the large troll can eat blood.
Oh yeah,
that'll
sure.
be fine. Okay, fantastic. We have a couple things we need to take care of first. Maurice is completely rusted over. He's going to need help once we get to the grove. This is beyond anything we can do here. I just need your assistance getting him into my bag of holding.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
If you don't mind. And he'll open up this bag that's been slung across his back, which also explains why he's suddenly able just to pull out all these random weapons. Like, here you go. He's had this bag of holding on him.
Yeah.
So luckily, since our Gearforge does not breathe, you can actually pop him in there as an easier means to transport him further, as opposed to trying to carry him around. So he's holding this bag open. All right, why don't the two of you lift him and put him in, and then we'll see if we can catch those two smaller ones who just ran away. I guess they were not expecting,
Large kitty.
that kitty cat. I don't know if I can call it the kitty cat, but that thing, yes, the large cat.
Yeah, all right.
And so, why don't the two of you give me, let's just do straight up strength checks for this one to pick up Maurice and see if you can get him into the bag.
Okay.
16.
And, okay.
16.
Okay, great. So with your 16s, you're able to hoist him up, and he's kind of in this awkward position where he almost looks like a statue, like a seated statue. So you've picked him up, and he's staying in this seated position with his arms resting on his knees, and you're able to manipulate him into Cal's bag. And it's a little disarming, sliding your companion into a bag and seeing them sort of just disappear into this infinite emptiness, it seems like. And Cal will just quickly put the flap over and secure it. All right, well, that is one down, but we have another two.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should...
give me just a second.
So as he's saying this, I'd like you all to give me a perception check.
Oh.
Whoa.
12.
12, okay.
10.
10.
I guess I'm distracted by the big floofy kitty there.
Floofy.
And they're a little floofy,
Slane.
right? Bob kitties.
What did Slane get?
Oh, I got 13. That's what I
13?
got.
Okay. All right, great. So you all, as you're just starting to get your bearings as to where Zira and Shreg have gone, each of you picks up on something that seems slightly different than last night when you bedded down for the evening. Aowell, you notice that there seems to be this one tree that is far closer to that area where you were meditating than you recall. And Gervain, you too notice that a couple of the trees almost seem closer in spacing, because you vividly remember falling asleep looking at these trees, and you could have sworn there was more distance between the two of them. Slain, you notice another tree, and you could almost swear, you can't quite tell from where you're standing, you're not quite sure, it's like you're hoping it's sap, but you could almost swear that it's a rivulet of blood that's running down the trunk of the tree.
Hey, Cal, the trees bleed around here?
No. And he'll turn and look at you with this confusion.
He's gonna,
Why?
I'm gonna point out the spear. See that over there? Looks like sap, maybe, but I don't know. It doesn't look like sap to me.
And he'll look. Maybe it's sap. It helps. We should take a closer look at it. I mean.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't mind. Everybody stay back a bit. So, Slain has expertise in nature. He has a provision in alchemy kit and herbalism kit. He does not do well with animals, but he knows his plants, and he's gonna cautiously approach it and use probably the butt end of his spear to kind of just get a good, tap it and see, does it dissolve? What does it do?
You're going to poke it.
Poke it poking it with a stick.
With all your talents, you're going to poke it with a stick.
Stay back. Expert business. Poke.
All right, so what I want you to do is at least roll for the use of the spear. It's not going to do damage, but let's see if you're able to make contact at the very least.
Yeah. Best way to test things in D&D.
A dirty 20.
You got a dirty 20. All right. So you are able to take your spear, and you don't hit it too hard, but you're able to nudge it, so it's not that you're doing any damage. And as you do so, you hear this clacking sound above your head. And as you hear this clacking sound, as you all begin to follow the sound and look up into the canopy of the trees, the canopy you're expecting is no longer there. Instead, you are seeing the underbelly of some massive creature that is extremely hairy, and above it, you see these mandibles, these jaws clacking back and forth, and staring down at you is a set of eyes, 8 in total, with a few arrows stuck in a few of them, so that there is some blood that is running down and dried up, and you can tell that this creature, this very massive, this very gigantic creature looming above you, has somehow managed to make its way over your camp and disguise itself as a tree, because as you look at this expanse that's looming over you, you can see these 8 different legs all stationed around your campsite that look very much like tree trunks instead of the body of a creature. Everyone roll for initiative.
Oh, damn.
Oh, shoot! You told us backstory!
Oh. Love these guys.
Okay.
Gotta go to 20.
Okay, so Slane's got a 20. Gervain?
8.
Gervain's got an 8. AOL?
19.
19 for AOL.
Hey, Zara's here.
I was going to say, and Kitty? And let's see, so Cal is going to be a 15. You got a 15 too, right, AOL?
19.
19. Okay, so 19, 15, and this massive creature got an 11. All right, so that gives us Slain, AOL, Cal, creature, and Gervain follows up. So, Slain, seeing this massive creature looming above you with its 8 legs sprawled around you slightly evenly, the one that you're in front of definitely looks extremely damaged. You can tell that this is not sap, this is blood that is rolling down it. What would you like to do?
So am I confident that I have a knife, my claws, teeth, and then the spear from outside? Am I confident I have any weapons that can even hurt this thing, given how tall it is? Like,
you can do some damage. It's you can see because you have the arrows that are stuck in 5 of its 8 eyes. So it has taken on some sort of damage, yes, from weapons. And there's proof of it in what's sort of lingering in its body from what's most likely a rather recent encounter. Again, because you still have the blood running down and everything like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, if I can, I would love to try to climb up on it, and I happen to have the climbing on top of a big creature if you'd like to, if you need those handy. I'd like to try to attempt with my claws to just, like, climb up it because I want to get to a soft spot.
Okay, so how about we do this as, to climb it, you need to attack it with your claws.
Gotcha. Nice.
See if we can do some damage on the leg as you go along. All right, so let's see what happens with that.
Ooh, that's going to be a 15 to hit.
So as you go with your claw, you almost make purchase, but it's not quite enough to dig in and get yourself up. But it is rather close. You can see that you've left these welts on this leg that is in front of you.
Okay, so with Dread Ambusher on my first turn, I can take an extra attack with my attack action. So I'm going to attempt that extra attack.
Go for it.
In this case, maybe so. That's going to be 17.
Absolutely. You feel your claws dig in and sink into what is definitely flesh, nothing plant-like material about this one at all.
All right, so I'm going to do my claw and then an extra D8 from Ambusher. 13 slashing.
13 slashing. All right, so this creature on its one leg, it takes on this 13 slashing, and you're able to get some purchase into its leg to start hefting yourself up.
Yeah, he's going to attempt that. With his bonus action, he is going to reach in and draw upon some of this new power that he has. And you say there's blood everywhere. He is going to focus on that, using it for the material component for Bleed, bonus action spell, which allows him to do extra damage. Actually, I probably should have cast it first, but I forgot. And so he's going to cast it.
I like the flavor where you're going. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, his claws start to like smoke and smolder as he digs them into the spider's leg, and they start like causing more blood to come out.
Okay.
So yeah, cast that.
All right, doesn't do any extra damage. It just
it'll do an extra. It does extra D4. If I hit
so
with
let's get that. Okay, so then roll that D4 so we can add into the 13 that you already had going.
That's extra 2, and a DC 14 Constitution saving throw, and if they fail, they start bleeding even further.
Okay, it makes the saving throw, but it'll take on the additional damage.
Cool.
All right, excellent. Nicely done to get it started. So Aowell, it is now towards you. You notice that there is, again, these legs that are circling all around you. There are the 2 that are closer together near where you had been meditating. There are a couple others around the other side of you. And then there's the 4 spanning in front of you. You see that Slain has already managed to get onto the one where he pointed out that there was blood running down it. What would you like to do?
So, is the idea to climb up this thing then, before I do anything? Because, I bet we're about insect size for that, right?
Yeah, you're a nibbling. You're a nice little snack.
I don't want to be a snack.
Who does?
That's the wrong kind of snack.
An actual snack, not the CC at the end of the word.
So, ooh, we do the new thing? We're gonna do the new thing.
Do the thing.
I'm all for the new things. I mean, you all just got your lovely little new things happening. So what's the happening of the new things?
The new thing is Dark Path.
Okay. All right. So with this dark path, conjure a shadowy road between the points to create a bridge or path. Ooh, very cool. Okay.
So I'm going to create
So what are you gonna do with
path through. So I'm going to go with the 2 front legs and then the 1 leg that's been damaged.
Okay.
And is that the one that does? Yeah. So that's 1d10. Okay. Where's my d10? That's the d10.
Okay. So you're conjuring the bridge.
Actually, it might be easier just to hit the thing either. I can't. I didn't do that as a spell action. Okay. Oh, that's the path, not Dark Bolt. Yeah.
Oh, you're doing something different?
I thought I hit the wrong one, but this is fine.
Okay,
I'll
so
go with
then
this.
no. We can rewind a little bit. So you want to do Dark Bolt instead?
Yes.
Okay, so let's click Dark Bolt and go ahead with that one instead of the Dark Path. Okay.
Spells new me.
There we go.
I seem to have input the wrong information on what it does there.
That's okay. Trust me, I get it. I follow. Okay, so as you do this Dark Bolt, describe what's going on with this newfound power that you've taken on after having this dream of your brother speaking with you and encouraging you to take this new path of your talents.
So I say a quick invocation that creates a black nimbus around my hand, and I hurl 3 rays of darkness at 3 of the legs, so the two front legs and the leg that Slane was just on.
Okay. And is this a saving throw or is this an attack?
Let's see. It needs to make a successful Constitution saving throw or be unable to use a reaction until the start of its next turn. It also
very
takes
cool.
1d10 cold damage for each ray. That does hit.
Okay. So then it has a 17 for its con.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make it save?
Yes.
Okay. But it still takes on the D10 or...
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. So you've hit the
For
3 different
each.
legs for each. Okay, so they each take 8
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm hearing. Okay. All
I'm
righty.
reading
So
this
you...
correct. Here,
I don't
let
have
me
it
see
in
if
front
I
of me
can-
right now, so I'm gonna...
There's the text for it.
There we go. Okay, thank you very much.
Not sure why it did.
Okay. All right, so it's going to be taking on this damage, and you see your magic seep into all of these legs individually, and you almost get this sense of satisfaction seeing this significant damage done, and this creature makes this, it's not a scream, it's not a hiss, it's this very insectoid chatter almost coming from its mandibles as you inflict damage onto 3 of its legs.
Okay.
And that
would
is
you
going
rather
to...
Would you rather I had that set as a spell card than an attack then?
That would probably make more sense.
Okay.
All right, we'll fiddle with it later because I know you're getting this leveled up right beforehand. So I'm not going to worry about it immediately right now. Okay, so that gives us Cal's turn. He is now up, and seeing this massive creature, he sees that the 2 of you have managed to do some damage to the front area of this creature. He is going to almost go back to back with you, but of course with the way he's physically formed, he can't go fully back to back with AOL. So he turns his back and he is going to attempt to use his short bow against this creature in the back leg area, on the back left leg. And he will just hit, and that means he's going to take on... Let's see how much damage. All right, he's going to be doing 6 piercing damage into the far left back leg of this creature, and that is Cal's turn. That brings us now to the creature. Now, this creature cannot take on AOL. Is that it? What is it?
Reaction.
Unable to use reaction. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that right now. So it is going to, it has this lovely ability of multi-attack, and its legs are going to start going towards each and every one of you. So, let's see here. I am going to... Bring it on! Okay, so the first leg is going to move, and I have an 18 as a roll for its leg attacks. 18 hit every one of you?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Are we across the board here?
Yep.
Yep. Let's see, and does it get to? Yes, it does as well. Okay, so these legs are going to start moving. It's actually the ones that have not been injured yet. The other 4 that have not been injured are actually going to start going towards you. So for you, Gervain, this creature is going to start lashing out at you with its one leg, and it is going to do... Hold on, let's get the right die in hand. And you will take on 5 piercing damage from the one leg as this leg sort of comes out to you, and it's almost like there are these barbs at the end of it, and it barbs you quickly with its one leg. not Gervain, Slain, my Ains. So Slain, as you are up on this one leg, the other one next to it hitches up, and it's almost like, you know how dogs try and scratch like a bug or something off their back? This leg is trying to do the same motion, like almost like it's trying to scratch you off or hurt you some way, like get off my body type of thing. And you are going to take on 8 points piercing.
All right.
As it's trying to get you off of its other leg. AOL, it is then going to take, another leg is going to aim towards you, and you will take on 6 piercing. And then it's going to go to Cal, and Cal is going to take on 5. And that is what it's going to do for its round. And that brings us to Gervain. What would you like to do?
All right, I'm going to look over at Little Czar, and I'm going to, I guess, take an action to mount it, to jump up on it, because probably take an action to do that. So I'll jump up on Little Czar, and then I'll have Little Czar for my bonus action, I'll have Little Czar attack.
Little Czar also has his attack, so go for it.
Yep. Let's see, 2, so he's going to roll. Is a 19 hit?
Oh, it absolutely does hit. So describe to us what Little Czar does as you are mounted on him, riding towards this creature.
Yeah, right towards the creature. Zara's just going to kind of make some quick movements over, and then do a little kitty bite towards the tree spider-looking thing, right on one of its appendages that used to attack me, kind of like in retaliation. So damage is going to be that's going to be 6 points of damage for the bite.
Okay.
And then I guess I will do its claw attack.
Great.
And that is going to be a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
And I will, it's going to rake, like, as it's biting on that one, it's going to, like, paw and rake that same appendage.
I like it.
And that is going to be 6 points of damage as well.
Okay, so steady 6 across the board. Lovely. All right, so it is taking on some damage. You have definitely affected its legs. You can see that there is blood coming out of its wounds, and it has tried to attack. It has landed some successful blows, and it's going to bring us back up to the top with Slain. It is your turn again against this Goliath of a long legs in front of you.
Oh, all right. I'm trying to get up to those eyes, and
so you want to try and keep... Okay, so you want to keep climbing up this leg?
Yeah, I keep climbing up the leg.
All right, so let's do the claw attacks and see if that gets you up there further.
Oh, yes. So we go, I doubt that. That's a 9.
A 9 will definitely not make purchase.
9.
Yeah.
And
I think in its trying to scratch you off, you've kind of... Not that you've lost your hold completely, but you have to refocus the hold you already have.
Okay, can I make a bonus action attack, like 2-weapon fighting style?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Cool. Just don't have the bonuses in.
Another 9.
No, 9! 9 on the 9! Okay, so you're fine, but it sort of roughed you up a little bit in terms of keeping your steady balance. So while you don't fall, you're not able to progress any further up this leg that you're hoping to get higher up to the softer bits as you keep aiming toward.
Cool. Is Noname in any danger or anything?
Noname is off towards the side. It hasn't come closer. It sort of understands that you don't call on it until you feel you need it.
Yeah.
So no, Noname is not in the thick of it.
Okay, and I also passed my concentration check for my spell.
Okay, all right, great. So then you are good all around. All right, cool. So now we're back to AOL. It is your turn.
I think AOL's gonna see about... double check that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one right now. Some glowing darkness.
Ooh.
Can you do the thing? I didn't hear the noise. Did it do the thing?
Did it do the thing? I'm not seeing the thing.
I'm not saying the thing either.
All right, so explain the thing that you want the thing to be
okay.
done.
Oh, I know. I'm hitting it in the wrong place. Or it's roll 20 and it takes forever.
Yeah, it's roll 20 just being roll 20. So why don't you describe to us what you're thinking about doing, and we'll see how it pans out.
So this time, AOL's going to reach out with a hand of Decaying Shadows and make a ranged attack.
Okay.
If it hits, it's going to take 2d8 necrotic damage, and I'll need to make a con save. Otherwise, its visual organs are enveloped in shadow until the start of my next turn, causing it to treat all lighting as if it's one step lower in intensity. So, bright light is dim, dim light is darkness, and darkness is as magical darkness.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, so ranged attack, let's see if it hits.
Yep.
You know, a spell is serious when it mentions something about organs.
That's
Right? I was going to say, I think it was like...
plus 5.
Okay, that's definitely going to hit. So we have, how much? You said 2d8?
2d8, yeah. That's neat. Yeah, there you go. That's neat. Sticky cracks. 6 points of damage.
6 points of damage. Okay. So this is one of your newer spells, correct? Or
I've had it, I just haven't used it. No, this is
okay.
no.
So as you're casting this spell, you're sort of like going back into the depths of your recollection. You haven't used this in a little bit. You're a little fuzzy on how it works, but you're able to make it activate and go through, and you do manage to do some damage at least to one of the legs of this creature, which is lovely and wonderful. And now that takes us to Cal. So he is going to once again use his short bow, and he is going to go and shoot at the leg on the other side that has yet to be hit. And he is definitely going to make contact. And with that, he is going to do... All right, Cal is going to do 6 more. It's the number 6 tonight, folks. He's going to do 6 points of piercing damage on the rear right leg now. And that takes us to the creature. And then refresh my memory with the spell you just cast. Eol, what is it? The darkness?
It was the dark bolt. Yeah. Well, it's got darkness, so depending on the light in the area.
Okay. Well, it's like morning time, so it's sort of now more probably like twilight mode for it, I'm guessing.
So that'd be
nighttime.
So that.
Yeah. So it's all right. So that's noted. All right. So it is going to go again and attack all 4 of you because you're hurting it.
Oh god.
And it gets. Let me see here. It's going to get 17 all around. Do we have contact or do we have any misses?
That's a hit.
That's a
That's
hit.
it.
And that's a big hit. All right, so we have hits also for Cal, so hits all around. So it's going to first swing at Cal, using the leg that actually took on damage, and Cal is going to be taking on... I'm getting really tired of the number 6. Cal's taking on 6 points of damage.
Alright.
Gervain, as little Czar is there digging its claw in, a leg on the opposite side comes swinging over and aims at the 2 of you, and you're going to take on
6. And Czar's going to take 6. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's just, you know what? Because here's the funny thing, just the standard damage is 6, so guess what, everyone just take a 6.
Yes. Perfection.
Everybody gets a 6. I am the Oprah of damage tonight. You get a 6, and you get a 6. That's too funny.
Everybody gets 6.
Everybody gets a 6. Okay, so that is the creature's turn on this one, but it is going to do one more action. It is going to attempt to bite at you, Gervain, and little Czar. However, this is going to be a disadvantage because it does have 5 of its 8 eyes sort of blocked out with arrows. And that is going to be... Does an 11 hit?
No.
No. Okay, so lucky for you, as it goes to bite, because it is at disadvantage, it got an 11 total. So you see this gaping jaw like trying to work its way down to you, and you see this mandible, and it snaps within feet of the two of you. And again, you hear this insectoid hiss coming from its mouth, type of thing, and it rears itself back up again, so that its softer body parts, because I know Slain, you're probably paying attention, its softer body parts have gone back up into the higher zone of its full height, and that is going to be its full turn at this point, which brings us to Gervain.
Sweet. I got my spear. I'm all up on it. I have Zara right under me, little Zara, so I'm going to attack with my spear. Let's see what I'm looking at. Spear. That is going to be a 15 to hit for my spear.
Okay, your spear, again, it hits the leg, but is not able to penetrate, so it does like this grazing action. You see a welt develop, but does not do any damage.
Okay, I'm going to action surge.
Surge? Okay.
Yeah. And attack it again.
Go for it.
Natural 1. Yeah, that's good. It's a good time. Yeah.
Okay, so I think in your frustration of trying to do some damage, you go in for that second hit, and it doesn't happen. But you still have little Czar.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have him attack. All right, here we go. Come on, little buddy. That's an 8. That probably doesn't hit for his bite.
Nope, that does not hit.
Last one for his claw, and that is a. Let me see here. That is a 15.
Okay, so he tries to bite in, but again, same thing like your spirit. He can't quite get that penetration going in and actually making full contact. So it's almost like he mouths it and then pulls away. So unfortunately, while you do try to attack each other, neither of you have much success, whether it's the
Me and Zara doing great.
Yeah, so you tried. Bless your heart, you tried. And now we're going to go back up to the top with Slain.
All right, so about how high up is Slain? Because he didn't get any last time, but...
I'll give you about 10 feet up.
Okay.
Based on your height and arm reach.
Yeah, I'd still like to be higher up. So he's just gonna attempt to do the same thing he did last time, using both of his attack, and then we'll see probably his bonus action as well. No, that's probably not. That's an 11.
Yeah, no. I wasn't sure whether I was like, did we just get a 10 or did we just get a nope?
No.
Okay.
Oh, maybe,
all right.
maybe. Okay, 16.
16 just makes purchase.
All right. Okay. All right. Good. So, it needs to make a DC 14 Constitution save to avoid a bleeding wound.
Okay, it makes that, but it will take on the damage.
Yep. And so it's going to take. That's going to be 9 damage.
Impressive. All right, so as Slain, as you manage to get your other claw in, you've tried, didn't quite make it, you tried again, and finally this claw latches in, and you're able to hoist yourself up again. So let's say that you're able to pull yourself up another 2. Let's see, how tall are you again?
He's pretty tall. He's like at the upper range of medium, so like 7 foot something.
Okay, so I'll give you, like, you're able to move about another, because of the swinging action, you're able to get up, like, let's say another 10 feet to keep the math easy. So you're able to pull yourself up another 10 feet between the momentum of swinging and grabbing and pulling yourself up a little bit more.
Nice.
So you do make it up further on this leg a little bit further, and it does take on those 9 points of damage, which brings us to AOL. We are back to you.
Okay. AOL sees things aren't necessarily going that great. And they're gonna pull out their big gun here.
Oh, okay then.
Why does that come out as raise? No, that's the previous one.
No, it's the previous one. I think it's just the way your entry does. Okay, so you're calling down a legion of shadow soldiers in a 10-foot cube conjured from the Shadow Realm. This is so freaking cool. Let's see here. Margreave, once living creatures. All right, so are you casting this cube on the creature, near the creature? How are you doing this?
The creature.
Okay. So then let's see here. So So do I need to do a save here, or is this a ranged attack for you type of thing? So which one here? The Conjurer makes an attack using your melee spell modifier. So, okay. So you do need to do a roll on that one.
Okay, so that's... That's a nat 20.
Ooh.
Okay, so here's how
the
it works
campaign.
out.
Yeah!
This is beautiful, because the way I do crits is you get full damage on your first die, and then you roll for your second.
Sweet. This
Yeah.
is 3 of them. This is 3. Right? Yeah, 3d8.
Okay, so you get
Kind of-
your...
Imagine it like
So
that.
I need to
spell,
roll
like that.
2 because the first one automatically has max, right?
Mhm.
Correct?
Yeah, you get your max damage.
It's like that God of War thing with the red spirits consuming stuff,
And
like back in the
another
day.
8 total.
Okay, so we get 16 points total going into this. All right, beautiful. Okay, so as you cast this spell and it makes its hit true, you see this damage go across to the leg intended, and again, you see this creature. It's almost as if, with the way trees are when they're about to be felled, you see like it sway a little bit at this point. All of its legs have now taken on some sort of damage. It is still standing, but it's definitely not happy at this point. And that brings us to Cal. So back to Darling Cal. He is actually going to, again, use his short bow. And unfortunately, he is going to miss with a 12. So he tries to aim, but I think he is more caught off guard by the intensity of the spell that you just casted, AOL, and almost like over-the-shoulder look, and it goes wild. It doesn't make a contact with any of the legs he was intending to. And now we are back to the creature. So this creature, do we have anything else hovering over it, or are we done with all the spells and the residual AOL? Right? I think we're
I think we're on the
complete.
creature turn.
Yeah, I think it was like everything was like your next turn phrasing. Okay, so it is going to again go through, and let's see if it makes contact. All right, I'm assuming, does 9 hit any of you?
You rolled a 6,
That's not.
probably. No.
No, I did not roll a 6. However, both the numbers can go into being divisible or multiplied by 6. So you get it does a 9. So the 9 does not hit anyone? No. Okay. So you see in its getting attacked and taking on more injuries, its legs try to wildly hit and graze and pull at you, but it is not able to make contact with anyone. And that brings us to Gervain.
All right, I'm gonna try and do like. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Gervain and Zar.
I'm gonna let Zar attack first. I think. Oh no, yeah, because it's a bonus, so like he can go first. Yeah, so I'm gonna let Zar attack first. So
Lovely.
he's gonna do his bite.
Chompa chompa.
That's gonna be 15 for the bite, which probably doesn't
That will
hit.
just miss.
And then his claw, which is an 8. So, well, just as
No.
is.
He's
Seeing him
certainly-
like not doing what he needs to, but he's like kind of jumping around and doing what he needs to. When I feel like a little bit of weightlessness as he's jumping, I'm gonna like go weightless and then put my feet like on top of his like in the middle of his back with my spear and jut up forward, kind of just using some momentum. So it's
Okay,
just
very
basically regular attack with some style.
I like the style though. It's the style that makes it.
That's cocked.
Okay,
Hey,
so we
my
roll-
first cocked. Let's see, 24 to hit.
That's gonna hit.
Yeah.
How's that hit?
And then I'm gonna roll damage, and that is there we go. Wow. Okay, sure. 4 damage.
Oh shoot. Okay. So it looks fantastic. It looks epic as you're able to sort of get a little lift from Zar's help and assistance as you're standing on his back, and your spear strikes in true and holds, and you see it impale itself into this leg as blood starts to pour out around the wound area. So you do manage to do some damage. Is there anything else you would like to do or can do, considering your action bonus actions or anything like that?
I'm just gonna do a little flourish with my spear and sit back and saddle style on top of Zara again.
Okay, so spear's back in hand and you're sitting back down again.
Mhm.
All right, very cool. So that is Gervain. Now let's bring us back up to the top with Slain.
All right. So it's been trying to bite and like reach down and bite a bunch. Does it come like really close to where Slain is when it does that, or is he still like?
It hasn't aimed towards Slain yet. It angled itself on the opposite shoulder for reference.
Okay.
Like turned its head and went in the opposite direction of where you would be because you're in the front portion of its legs.
Gotcha.
But it has not come towards you yet. Right now it's back up to the top again, and right now its mandibles are just sort of clacking. Together.
And about how far away is it now? Like back at the top?
Let's see,
It's
you're like 20, it's still a
20 feet
decent.
up.
Yeah, it's still a decent distance. It's not like you can.
He's gonna keep climbing it in. I was hoping it'd be like within like maybe 5 feet, like a reaction and like
You're
jump and stab it. But I'm gonna keep climbing.
Yeah. Okay.
Just keep one claw after another, and there we go. 22 for the first hit.
That takes.
And then I'll take a bonus action, and then 18 for the second hit. So
Both hits. So you're able to climb up.
Yes, and that's 2 Constitution save DC 14 to avoid a bleeding wound. Oh,
Makes
come
the
on,
first one.
Minimum damage. My first
Makes
damage on my
the
first
second
one is cool. Damage on my first one is 6. And slashing.
Okay.
And the second one is 5 slashing.
Oh, yay! Okay, so in this, because you're seeing your companions also getting attacked and you're seeing damage finally starting to happen with this creature, you get this boost of confidence. So Slain, you're able to get that one claw. It sinks in and it sinks in deep, and you feel this blood begin to sort of collect around your nails and slide down a little bit. And then as that happens, you get this surge of energy and you're able to swing again, and your claw takes another grip and you're able to hoist yourself up. So you're basically at the top of this creature's leg now.
Oh, nice. Sweet. That was my action. Bonus action. I will do a superhero pose or something.
Okay, you're like on top of the world as far as you're concerned, because you're at the top of this creature. So you were able to see this creature from the top side, which no one else has yet. So you see this very hairy body, very much like some of those woodland spiders you've seen, and you can tell that this creature has definitely taken on some damage. You see some slash marks. You see there's actually a couple of hand axes that are lodged in its back. You see arrows, further arrows, not just the ones in the eyes, that are lodged in the back of its head as well, and at certain portions of the upper parts of the legs. So this has been in recent battle.
Okay.
All right, so it's up to you if you want to relay that information down to your companions, but you now have a different topside view than what they're seeing from the underside.
I'm just gonna. It's really hurt. It's really hurt, guys. That kind of thing.
Okay, great. So now, it's your turn after Slain has made it to the upstairs of this creature.
The Legion is a concentration up to a minute thing.
Okay, so you're going to keep going with it then. So let's do another attack, make sure if it keeps going.
Seven plus 5 is 11? Right?
12.
12.
So it's going to not make an effective contact this go around.
Okay.
Its one leg manages to sort of pull itself out of the affected area, and while it does go to make its damage, it just sort of happens in thin air. Like there's nothing for it to make contact with because it's able to move its way out.
Okay.
So anything else you want to do, can do?
So if concentration breaks, does that use the action at that point?
If you...
'Cause I think that's still used.
Yeah.
Okay. I think at this point we're gonna try and hide behind a tree.
Okay.
There's
So
a
you're
person
gonna...
that is not a leg.
There are, you can go back into where you're meditating even if you want to, because you're not too far away from where that is.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna
so-
hide behind a tree. See if that helps.
Okay, so that's going to give it an attack of opportunity, though.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
So
This
yeah,
is
so let's
bad.
see. What did you just say?
Pulling for 6. Pulling for 6.
Well, it was a 7. Plus a 7, does that get a 14? Does that hit you?
No.
Oh, okay, so you lucked out. So as you're falling back, this one leg tries to swing wildly at you, but again, it too misses. So you're able to tuck yourself into that little copse of tree area where you were before. Now we'll go over to Cal. And Cal, seeing you in retreat, he is going to shoot at the leg that is trying to swing at you. And he's going to make contact. Beautiful. And then he will... All right, so that's going to be 5 piercing, and you see another arrow lodge itself into this leg that was just about to swing at you. And now it is the creature's turn. Actually, no, let me get this registered here. Let's get the damage in before I forget. All right, so it is going to start swinging at all of you. And again, there's no way. There's no way it's going to hit any of you with this one. 11, anyone?
Nope.
No. So again, these legs, they try to all swing and go after and try and attack everyone, and all the legs miss. However, it is going to go in with another bite, and it is going to attempt to bite at you again, Gervain, since you managed in that spear action, and that is going to be 19. Does that hit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So as it comes towards you, you feel this piercing sensation along with the burning sensation enter into you as you take on 8 piercing, as well as, hold on, I need my D8. Where'd my D8 go? One moment, please, to find out how much damage you're taking in poison. So, and you'll take on 10 points poison as well.
Okay.
So it has sunk its teeth into, well, it's sunk its mandible into you, and you feel this quick, sharp piercing, and again, this burning sensation, and it pulls away from you, and it's clacking its mandibles together gleefully as it has finally done some damage to something with its jaw, and it pulls it back up. However, actually, no, take it back. You need to do a Constitution save on the poison. Let's see how you do.
Okay. Here we go.
Against 15. So you'll take either the full 10
12.
or half. Okay, so you only take 5 points of the poison.
Okay, that makes
Okay.
kind of, well...
Let's reduce that. Yeah, I was like, oh wait, no, there was more to that description. Let me finish reading. So you take only the 5. So you have the poison in your system now. And let's see here. That is all it's going to be doing.
Am I under the poison status currently?
Yes, you are under the poison status currently.
I gotta look up what the poison status is again.
Well, it says here, target is stable but poison for 1 hour. If I'm reading this correctly.
Just gonna look it up. Poisoned means creature has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Fantastic.
Yep.
You know, it's a good day.
At least you lived.
Barely.
Yeah. So that is its turn. Gervain, it's back to you now.
Yeah.
Ow.
It looks super hurt. Let's just go for it. Wait, we don't... I mean... Yeah, we're gonna go for it.
Okay. It's a thing?
We're gonna go for it. I'm gonna attack it.
Okay, attack.
With disadvantage. So that's an 11 and a 12, which ends up becoming a 16. 16 to hit with a spear.
Just hits.
Yes. Oh man.
Okay, let's see how you do this.
Ballsy. 7 points of piercing damage. And let's see. I'm gonna have Little Zara attack as well.
I think you should, yep.
Yep. I'm going to, let's see. That's going to be 15, which I believe doesn't hit for its bite.
It doesn't hit before, right?
And a 23 for its claw.
So, Gervain, tell us how little Czar ends up felling this massive creature with its strike claw.
So, I'm sitting there, like, kind of bleeding and poisoned, and I basically kind of do a very, fleeting attack, just try and really, like, hang in there and keep my warrior, like, pride and spirit going by, like, stabbing in to it, and Czar will feel me collapse onto him. And with that, Czar feels emboldened, probably. So he's going to try and bite. He's going to miss that, and then he's going to feel me kind of, like, saying, "Come on, little buddy. I'm not doing great." And he's going to kind of do I guess he'd probably do a small little pounce and try and strike it kind of in a mid area and land back to kind of make sure that I'm safe and, like, lost down lightly. And that's how I kind of see that attack happening.
Excellent. And as this claw strike happens, it manages to find the major artery of this creature, and it starts to bleed out. And you see this massive form start to shudder and shake, and it begins to collapse. And lucky for all of you, the canopy in this forest is so thick that the tree branches almost support it as it falls and its dead weight comes down. So it doesn't topple on top of you. You do see that it does sink a little bit, but the branches sort of knit together, almost holding it up, as this creature now is hovering lifeless above you. So you probably have about 10 feet between the underbelly of its body and the ground floor of the forest. But you have successfully defeated the Goliath's Longlegs.
Good shot.
I'm gonna, like, shout out and just, like, "Yeah, woo!" and, like, action, or do a what do you call this? A second wind, kind of just to, like, during our moment of victory and emboldenedness, to heal myself.
Okay.
10.
Okay, great. So add that back into your count there.
I'm at 16 now.
Okay, so you're not at death's door. All right, so you have this monstrosity basically sitting in front, not sitting in front of you, dangling in front of you. It is lifeless. As I was saying before, slain, you noticed that there were various weapons lodged into this creature, including arrows and hand axes and such on the upside or the top side of it.
While he's up here, he's going to look for ones that aren't broken, I think salvageable.
Sure.
Certainly would take a hand axe for himself.
Okay.
And then any arrows, use those.
Okay, so let's say for the sake of time, you're able to collect, I'm going to roll a d20 and see. You're able to collect 12 perfectly usable arrows and gather them together. And there is a hand axe that you could easily grab from where you were standing.
Yeah, he'll take that hand axe.
Okay, as you take that hand axe, you'll notice as you pull it out, its blade, it's not quite what you're expecting. It's definitely a sharp hand axe, and it's definitely a hand axe, but the blade itself has almost this serrated look to it. But then as you look more closely to it, you see that the blade has been made to mimic the look of a maple leaf, so that it fans out like a maple leaf would, and it has the dips that you see, the curvatures between points of a maple leaf wood. So it looks like a leaf of a maple tree has been attached to the handle of this hand axe, but it's a very strong and durable metal.
Cool. Nice.
So it is a hand axe with add an extra +1 to your damage.
Oh, nice. Sweet. Yeah, he'll tuck that into his belt. Good looking axe. Anybody need any arrows?
And Cal will look up to you. Go ahead, Gervain.
Oh no, I don't need. Did you see anything else useful in there?
I don't know. I was thinking about cutting it open and seeing what's inside of it.
Wait a minute. Those arrows. Cal's looking at you. The arrows.
Yeah.
Let me see them.
I'll give them to him.
All right, and he'll take the cluster of them, and it's at this point you notice that all of these arrows have this vivid red feather at the end of each of them. And You see Cal's face blanch a little bit. These are the ales of my people.
Oh, well,
This has been at the Grove. Or it could have been near the Grove.
well, we should hurry back, yeah. And is it like from standing, getting like a height advantage? Can I see? Has it left a trail through the canopy at all? I mean, it seems like it's pretty big, but still difficult to track.
It's one of those things where you might see a couple of broken branches at the top of the canopy of the forest, but nothing where you can see that it's torn a path through. It's not like this isn't Godzilla spider at all.
Sure, yeah.
This is something that has carefully and quietly moved its way through the forest. For its next
yeah. Okay, so I don't see anything from up here, but we can get moving then if we need to. Yeah.
Oh, how are the rest of you in terms of being able to hold up and go?
Oh,
because we also need to find the other two. They ran off.
Oh, yeah.
That hero's arrival you wanted, I think, might be a bit out. I'm a little wiped feeling. But we do need to find the other two, and we do need to... I think we need to get to your grove as fast as possible, regardless of whether we look like the heroes you want or not.
If you want to rest, I can go and find the other two and try and bring them back and explain what has happened.
I'm pretty. Like his trollish vigors healed him up some, but Cal, I really think you should get back to the Grove. I can catch up with Zira and Treg, no problem. But get back to your people, and maybe we can help them. I move quick on my own.
But what about... And he's going to gesture to Gervain and Aol. But what about them? You may be fine, and I'm asking for your companions.
Well, I thought maybe they would accompany you to help you with the Grove, or maybe we should all go together. Yeah.
Or if they need to rest and recuperate before we even move them.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even... Oh, that's right, yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, and Slane does, he's all action-oriented, and he doesn't even really notice, that... He goes, Trade, right, you look roughed up. Did you hurt at all, or just, drink, of magic?
I'm hurt.
Oh, yeah, okay. If anybody's hurt, he completely switches gears, and, he'll put down his spear and start going over to, help bind wounds and things like that. And if need to, I can make some medicine rolls, but I don't think anybody's bleeding or anything like that, I guess.
I'm poisoned.
You're poisoned? Can I do anything? I think there is. I think with the herbalism kit or something, I can give you advantage, but I don't know that I have an antidote with me.
Yeah.
I'll attempt to if I can.
Hey, I look at little Czar. I'm like, hey Czar, can you side pile for me real quick, buddy? And he's just gonna kind of flop down into a crescent shape as cats do, and I'm gonna lay on him, and I'm gonna prompt Elo to come on over to kind of rest on something cushy.
Okay.
Can I take? I'd like to do a snake bite kind of situation and just cut the wound and see if Slane can't suck the poison out.
This is a first.
or
he's
knife.
Time, pause.
Hear me out.
Let's please.
We have this amazing forest friend of ours here that we could potentially ask for some help. I'm sure this is not the first time someone's been poisoned around here, Cal. Do you happen to know anything to help with that?
Luckily for you, its bark is worse than its bite. It's just going to be a matter of time for it to work its way out of your system. It may be about an hour or so. You should be all right. Okay, resting will definitely help.
I'll give it an hour, Slane, and if you want, you can do that. Well, I'm passed out.
Sure. Well, if you got to rest for an hour, I can just. They can't have gone far,
And
Okay,
when
so-
you were coming in to do that, Lil Zar's just gonna kind of keep you back a bit. Like, I don't know what you're.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
This massive dire bobcat's going to be glaring at you with these vivid golden eyes, and the pupils are slits at this point as it's focused on you. And you can hear this low grumble emitting from its throat as.
And all skull at the moment.
All skull. I like that. Okay, so it's nice and creepy. So if AOL and Gervain, you want to do a short rest and get a few more points back in the system, what we can do is have it that Cal is going to stay with the two of you to make sure you're okay. And Slain, if you want to go off and see if you can find Shreg and Zira, because they're probably no more than about 20 minutes out of running away.
Yeah, and so I will cast Bloodhound, which his nose gets gigantic. And so he'll have scent and an advantage on those survival.
Okay, beautiful.
Nice. That's a 27 for my survival.
Okay, so Slain sets off in the direction where you saw the two of them running. And because Shreg had dashed off in such a panic and Zira in such a focus to keep up with him, it's almost like she must have been swinging at the same time as she was running, because you're seeing these lopped off, clean-cut branches leading directly towards them in this path. And ironically, they've pretty much ended up where you were meditating before. They've come back to this open area of this old stream bed, and you see that Shreg is tucked himself under, not the same root system, but he's tucked himself under another root system where it's sort of like it's protected, and you can see that Zira is trying to comfort them in process, and the two of them are just sort of in their own little world of Shreg being terrified and Zira trying to calm them down.
Mm-hmm. I'll call out from a distance. I don't want to sneak up on them or anything, but I'll just let them know. We dealt with the spider, and we think it attacked their village. So are y'all good to travel back at least to camp? Somewhere safe at least.
And Zira's going to look at you. What spider? There was a big cat. What spider?
Oh yeah, no, don't even worry about the spider. No, don't even worry about that. Cat's fine too. That's cats. Yeah, not even. Forget I said anything.
Okay, do persuasion.
But it's safe now, regardless. So.
Yeah, let's see how we're going to.
My persuasion is terrible.
It's funny because there's a damn big cat in pursuit, and now you're talking about killing a big spider.
All right, I'm at -2, and I have disadvantage on it.
This is going to go well. You got a 1.
Yes.
Seriously? Okay. So Shreg looks up, and their eyes are huge saucers.
Oh, I don't know. I just saw this big cat come running out to us, and I don't really want to know there's a spider, and I don't want to go, and I don't want to die.
Listen, the cat's a ghost under Gervain's command. It's fine.
What do you mean it's a ghost?
Eyes, if they could get bigger, they would.
I mean, it's not like a ghost like Boo, but it's like a ghost like not alive,
Slain, doesn't that like basically mean the same thing? Because ghosts aren't alive?
I mean, like not all ghosts are alive. Sure, I get you. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more of but I don't really know.
Okay, Slain.
Like,
Why don't you just, okay, Slain, why don't you just tell us what happened? That might clear things up.
Yeah. So I mean, Gervain, I guess he found a ghost cat somewhere as a friend of his or something. I went out. I wasn't there at camp. When we came back, that's when you all ran off, and the tree started bleeding, and it turns out it wasn't a tree; it was a spider that snuck up on us, and we got it.
Wait, hold on. How can a spider be? What do you mean? How can a spider be a tree?
Well, you gotta come look, really, honestly. You really should come see. It's amazing. And, but it's big. They're like big. You'll see once you see it.
So it's safe. You're telling us it's safe.
I can't promise you it's safe.
What do you mean you can't tell us that it's safe? I'm not going anywhere if it's not safe.
I mean, Shreg, there's nothing in the world that's safe, and if you're wanting safety, then I just don't know what to tell you, because you should just crawl into a hole if that's what you're looking for. But if you're willing to just be take a risk, then you should be fine.
Slay. Basically, if we go back to the camp, we're going to be mostly okay then?
We're mostly okay. Yeah, mostly okay. We're all fine. And
you can see Zira's she's looking between you and Shreg. She's got this look of absolute exacerbation with you. You had a second there to make it better. And Shreg is still shaken by it. So she's able to convince Shreg to start walking back with you, pretty much it's just Slane's way of saying everything's fine, but how Slane can get sometimes. He kind of explains things a little bit more differently. We're going to be okay. Come on. We're all back together. Let's get back together, and we'll definitely be safer that way, okay? We shouldn't be out in this woods by this far. Let's just get going. And so she convinces Shreg to come with you, and you make your way back to the camp. And you get there, and Gervain and Aol have been able to recuperate, and you're all back on your feet, a little bit more steady. And you can tell that Cal has sort of gone around one more time, and he's pulled out a couple of extra arrows that seem to be in good enough condition. And he's pulled out another hand axe that's been lodged, and this is just a standard hand axe. And you see he kind of just takes a look at it, kind of shrugs, and does any of you want this one? Might be of some use.
I'll take it, and I'll go to Zara and be like, "Hey, buddy, no cool tricks right now, okay? Shreg needs to warm up to you." Can I make an investigation of the tree that fell to see if I see anything else that might be in its carcass?
Any further weapons, that type of thing? Okay, yeah, you can do another investigation.
All right, investigation. That's a 2, so yeah, nothing. Just
you happily accept that hand axe.
Yeah,
it's another sharp weapon you can put to use. So Cal hands it over to you, kind of shrugging, it's yours, no problem. If you're all ready, we can get going to the grove at this point. I don't think we should wait around anymore. Let's make some progress if it's good for you. I think you're muted there.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so he will start leading the way, and he's actually going to, he'll pick up Zira and Shreg and kind of pop them onto the back just to make it a little bit easier, and he starts leading the rest of you through the forest. And as you're walking through, you can feel that the fall air is definitely taking more effect around you as you're getting closer to the mountain area. And you still see some streams sort of cutting through the forest area itself. And as you're walking, Cal is just sort of giving you little bits of information about things you might be seeing. And suddenly you come to this spot where you notice that, again, this is supposed to be springtime in the Margreave. You notice that some of the leaves start getting this golden yellow edge developing around them. And as you look up in front of you, you see along what is now this more worn footpath, this transition of this vivid, verdant, spring green, new leaves coming from the trees. And it goes almost to sort of a lime greenish blend with some yellows mixed in to this beautiful, vibrant mix of yellows and golds and fiery reds that picks up on all of the trees about 100 feet ahead of you on this path. And you can even see that there are a couple of trees that must have been there for ages because they're old and gnarled, but the branches themselves have been trained to turn into almost this archway. So the branches are woven together, and you still get this beautiful coloring of these warm, rich golden yellows and reds and oranges. And the other thing you notice is that there are absolutely no coniferous style trees at all. There is no sign of green whatsoever. Everything is golden and warm and glowing as the sunlight sort of hits the top of it and dapples its way through. And as you approach closer to it, you see Cal get this look of almost relief on his face. We are here at the Gulf. This is our main entryway. When you come to this arch, you are coming into a very special place. I'm hoping you can help me with it. For as you can see, It is unique in its own way. And he's going to wave his arms, showing you the difference of the fresh spring green that is happening in the rest of the Margreave, and this beautiful glowing atmosphere that's been created by that of the Grove of Eternal Autumn. And he'll take you up this footpath, and every so often you'll see, because as you're gaining elevation, there's sort of these switchbacks, and it's this natural stone where there is moss, but again, this moss has this tinge of gold to it instead of it being a deep green. And the stones themselves, there's streaks of red that go through it, and he'll point out and say that is some of the carnelian. That is why we are called the clan carnelian. This is a beautiful source of the carnelian stone. And he's taking great pride in pointing out just these little touches that are unique to the grove itself. And finally, you come up to the top part of the elevation of this main footpath, and it opens up into this open area. And you can see there are two streams. One feeds around the left-hand side of this open area, another one to the right. It feeds into a very small, not quite a lake, but it's definitely bigger than a pond. And again, it turns back into a stream, and it feeds down. The two of them unite into a larger stream that you can tell must feed into the river at some point further down the way. And you'll see, again, just this beautiful, glowing golden hue. It's almost as if everything in this area it emits its own light. And it is about this time, it's early afternoon, so the sun is still high in the sky. And in the opening of this clearing, there is this impressive longhouse that is stationed right in the middle. And you can see these intricate carvings along the door itself. It's this massive double wooden door, so it's two doors that would open up and swing opposite directions of each other type of thing. And above this, you see this pennant hanging down from the peak of the roof of the longhouse. And the longhouse roof itself, it has, again, this golden moss, this golden red moss kind of growing along it in different areas. And you'll see this pennant hanging down, and it is this image of a tree, where half of the tree is bare branch, but the other half has, again, these beautiful mixes of reds and orange leaves growing on the other side of the tree. And Cal just sort of stands there and says, "We have arrived. This is my home. That is our main community home. If you are ready, I will take you inside where you can meet our chieftain and you can meet our priestess."
Yeah, it sounds right. It sounds great.
Okay. So he will lead you up. Sure.
You said it looked like the spider had been this way. Do you see any sign that it's been here outside of the arrows from your people?
I don't see any evidence here in the center, but the grove itself is quite large. This is the heart of the grove. It goes out 3 miles out outside. So it's quite possible it's scattered along the edge somewhere. It would be good to find out if there have been any issues. The fact that no one is outside wandering around, I have a feeling everyone is inside.
I'm gonna talk to Zira and Shreg and be like, "Hey, just to kind of lighten up my new friend here, and for you folks to get used to him, why don't you just ride on him as we go meet these chieftain in the community?" I'm basically just trying to get Zira and Shreg to mount on Little Czar so that he seems like a softer figure. Kind of.
Sure. Yeah, and obviously Cal doesn't necessarily want to walk in with the two of them riding on his back either, so he will help sort of shift them over to Little Czar. And Little Czar has made a point to be as cute and floofy as possible, sort of picking up on the vibe. So as much as possible is for a dire bobcat. Yep. Again, we have this cute little trill that he's starting to emit, and he, bows down a little bit to make it easier, and he's doing this cutesy, saucer-eyed meowing. And the two of them feel comfortable enough to get on his back at this point. So now that you're all established, Cal will lead you up to the main doors of this longhouse. And he doesn't even knock. Instead, he sort of just pushes the two doors to swing into the house itself. And as you see these doors swing open, you will see a community of these Alcide people gathered around, facing towards these two people up on top of higher elevation stage dais type of situation. And as these doors swing open, everyone's head swings around and looks at you. So you basically have all these antlered heads turning their attention towards you. And you hear Cal say, "I have brought them with me. They have come to help." And that's where we're going to leave things for tonight. You have arrived at the Grove of Eternal Autumn. So, oh man, this is a fun blend of getting glimpses of backstories again and leveling ups and fighting the creepers and making progress. This was fun. I absolutely enjoy playing with you every single Sunday. I cannot wait until next Sunday. So don't forget to join us next Sunday, again, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time here on the Kobold Press Twitch channel. I'm going to go around opposite direction. Would love to hear if you're up to anything, where we can find you, as well as your favorite parts for this evening. And we'll start with Jim, our lovely Trollkin Slane.
Yeah. I'm really feeling this game. It's just great. Like, the Margreave really is a like a character unto itself, and I like just all the the mysticism of it, the magic of it is great. Love the little tidbits from everybody, especially the literal spirit animal that Gervain got, and just like how Aelith was tapping into her shadow magic background. Everything was really cool. Yeah, you can check us out over on YouTube, WebDM, where we've got new shows coming out all the time. We're playing some games on Twitch, and we're going to be in Tucson, Arizona next weekend for RenCon, and running some games, hanging out. I think I'm giving a speech, so I'll figure that out, but yes. So if you're in that neck of the woods and you got the time and there's whatever, come check us out and we'll hang out. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. And now we're going to move up and over to Torn Pixie.
Hello, I'm Torn Pixie. You can find me at Torn Pixie Twitch on Twitter or at Torn Pixie here on Twitch. You can also find me at Torn Pixie on TikTok, where I just launched into the Hogwarts Professors tag, if you've been following that stuff at all. Some really cool story going on there. Other than that, I've got 6 games I'm either in or running currently. So basically follow my Twitter to find out what's going on with that. Other than that, I've got a walkthrough on captioning that I published. You guys can check that out anytime. I am going to go ahead and drop a link for that, if that's okay. And then, that's my big thing. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And I love the closed caption thing that you got going. It's excellent. So do check that link out, please, for those of you in the chat and those of you watching VOD mode. And now we're going to move over to our wonderful, now large Bobcat companioned Gervain.
Yeah, so my name is Michael Sinclair II. You can find me at Michael Crits on Twitter and on Instagram. My favorite moment was getting my little buddy, Little Czar, and just seeing how the Ghost Knight kind of plays out a little bit more with a lot of narrative there, and being able to interact with Ewil, because I feel like our characters don't interact as much, so very happy about that. For projects I got going on, nothing digitally based. I'm back in school taking a bunch of humanity classes, taking a theater class. And since the theater classes have really acting or improv, I'm going to be taking an improv class here in Seattle at the Blue Door. So trying to get my acting skills a little bit up there and stuff like that. So that's what I'm up to. Hopefully it'll translate to something digital or a project that I can share online at some point. So here you go.
Fantastic. I love it. And I am D-Muse. I was your DM for this evening, and this is The Last Heir. It is a campaign that I've created based off of the Tales of the Old Margreave. Fantastic set of books. Please do make sure to go over to Kobold Press and check them out and get them. You will not be disappointed at all. You can find me here every Sunday running this game. You can also find me over on Mini Train Domain as one of the players every Thursday night for the Dawnbringers with some other fantastically wonderful players, talented, wonderful players. You can also check me out on my YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse, where every Wednesday I have a live stream showing you how to paint miniatures. And every Friday I am doing terrain builds, and they're terrain builds based off of Zobek, because I'm making some fun terrain for Kobold Press as well. So do be sure to come and join me over there if you like all things Kobold. Basically, I'm a Kobold girl. So thank you so much, everyone, for sticking around and hanging out with us. I thoroughly enjoyed it, as always. My favorite parts were honestly seeing how you all work in your own little environments. I loved seeing OL interacting with her brother. I loved how Gervain got into this playful racing mode with little Czar. And then Slane just going out into his own and doing that whole meditation thing for the whole leveling up aspect. I thought was just such a cool way of doing it. So every week I can't wait to see what you guys bring to the table, because it's absolutely wonderful. So that is it for us for tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful work week, and we will see you again in a week's time, hopefully with more of our other lovely players. Until then, take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the flip side on our Twitter accounts and on our other various social media. So for now, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.